Hi everyone, welcome to the Sichos Haran share. My name is Effie Sussman. Tonight we're going to be doing Sicha 33 and 34. So this is actually going to continue on the theme that we did last week, which was on simple faith. And, I just want to say, it's totally hashgacha pratis that we keep on getting these sichas now during these trying times. Each week, finding sources and preparing, it really gives me a lot of chizuk. So I just, thank you, Hashem. Just want to say this. And I hope that this share gives you guys a lot of chizuk too. So we'll jump in. We'll start with Sicha 33. I'm just going to get on the share screen. Okay, over here, 33. Another time when the Rebbe was discussing faith, he remarked, "The world considers faith a minor thing, but I consider it an extremely great thing. The path to faith is empty of all sophistication and speculation. It is the innocent faith of women and the ordinary religious person." Okay, so Rebbe Nachman tells us that the world doesn't value faith, but he considers it crucial. I was actually reading this piece out loud, and my husband was overhearing me when I was preparing this, and he mentions a great thing. He said, nowadays, people definitely do focus more on Emunah because of Rebbe Nachman and because of the Hasidus movement. Nowadays, there's people want to do better. There is that awareness with Emunah. I don't know, there are so many movements. I live in the 5 towns in an Orthodox community. So as I'm driving around, I'll see a bunch of bumper stickers on people's cars about thanking Hashem and about Emunah, and it's really a beautiful thing, I find it that so much so, there's so much stuff around that maybe even sometimes when we're dealt certain challenges and difficult times, we feel bad about not having proper Emunah. I know for myself sometimes that happens to me. I've spoken also to a lot of people in different situations, and I hear people say things like, "I know Hashem runs the world, but I question if it's all good," or "How can Hashem let this happen?" Or "Is Hashem really involved in the day-to-day?" Or "How can Hashem let Corona happen?" Or "How can Hashem let these scary riots that are happening now?" So, we have a lot of questions. And as life, or let's be honest, as Hashem throws us things, a lot of times we just, we only have more questions. So I stumbled upon another Sichos Haran piece while I was preparing. Actually, a lot of times when I prepare, I just want to give, a little shout out. I use this book, The Essential by Rebbe Nachman, and it divides a lot of Rebbe Nachman's things by topic. It's very helpful. So it's by Rav Avram Greenbaum. So anyways, as I was reading that, I stumbled upon a different Sicha, number 146. And it has to do with questions and faith. And I wanted to bring it in now to prepare to connect it to this year. So I'm just going to go to the share screen again. Okay, here we go. The word kasha, that's where it begins. The word kasha, a difficulty or question, consists of the initial letters of the verse, Shema Hashem Koli Ekra. Hear God, my voice I cry. When you cry out in your heart, this itself is an aspect of faith. You may have many doubts and questions, but when you cry out in your heart, it shows that you still have a spark of true faith. Without this spark, you would not cry out at all. Your very cry is therefore an aspect of faith. Understand this. This cry can also bring you to faith. The cry itself is an aspect of faith, but it is still very weak. Yet this very cry can elevate and strengthen your faith until all your questions disappear. Even if you have not yet attained this, the cry itself is very beneficial. Okay. So kasha is spelled Kuf Shin Yud Aleph. Rebbe Nachman took the pasuk in Tehillim that says, Shema Hashem Koli Ekra, hear God my voice that calls out to you. And he took that pasuk and he connected it, and he said that pasuk is an acronym for the word kasha. So he's connecting questions to this crying out to Hashem. And he's really saying that by asking questions, by trying to understand what's going on in the world, by calling out to Hashem in our heart, we are actually igniting true faith. And our questions and our through our questions, our Emunah gets set on fire in a good way. So I found this piece like so encouraging that I had to share it, because, you know, we're all human and we all go through things and we ask a lot of questions, maybe even 1,000,000 times a day. But we shouldn't feel guilty about it. We should know that this is true faith too, as Rebbe Nachman says. And these questions, these cries, can elevate and strengthen our faith until all our questions are gone. So I just thought that was amazing, you know, and give us all a bracha that all our questions should disappear and throughout the whole world. Okay, so the next part of our original Sichos says that a person should have faith without any sophistication. It is the innocent faith of women and a regular religious person. So Rebbe Nachman, he's not talking about, you know, the faith of Talmidei Chachamim, or the faith of our Rav, or the faith of our mentor. He's talking about simple faith, and you don't need much for it. You know, like since this quarantine started, just made me think of this example. Since quarantine started, I've actually been watching like home workout videos on YouTube. So a lot of them say like, you know, you'll need exercise bands, you'll need a mat, you'll need dumbbells, whatever, you know, whatever stuff that video specifically needs. And then there are other videos that just say no equipment needed. And I find like whenever it says no equipment needed, I'm like, ooh, such a relief, because I don't have any equipment. So it just made me think of this, you know, of this part of this piece. Like, it's with simple faith too. Like, there's no equipment needed. You don't need to be smart. You don't need to know a lot of Torah. You don't need to know the ways of the world. You just have to have simple Emunah in Hashem. Nothing needed, just simple faith. No equipment needed. Okay, so we're gonna read the next piece now. Piece number 34. I'm gonna share the screen again. Oh, it's on top. Okay, 34. Faith is like charity. The Torah says of Abraham, he had faith in God and he counted it as charity. Through faith, one is worthy of having children. The Hebrew word for faith is Emunah. Turn the letters into numbers, and the gematria is banim, children. Okay, so he's saying, Rebbe Nachman saying, faith is like charity. And with faith, a person is zocha to have children. So I didn't understand the connection between these two parts of the piece. So there was actually a footnote in this, Rebbe Nachman's Wisdom, which has Shiflei Haran and Sichos Haran in it. And it told a story about one of Rebbe Nachman's students that before Rebbe Nachman was traveling to Israel, his student came to him and asked him to daven for him for children. So Rebbe Nachman said, just give tzedakah. And the student said, I don't have any tzedakah to give. So then Rebbe Nachman said, okay, then just have Emunah. Simple faith, right? Have Emunah. So we see from this story that faith can substitute for charity. You know, obviously a person needs to ask their Rav about when this applies, but Rebbe Nachman's trying to prove the point here that Emunah is such a big deal, because we all know how much tzedakah is valued in our culture. So you could only imagine. So he's saying here that faith could substitute for it. So obviously faith is considered a huge, huge thing. And to bring this out even further, I brought in a Likutey Moharan piece that I found, which shows that faith is everything. That's the point of this piece. And it also talks about how faith is what we need nowadays, like with COVID and sickness. And this Likutey Moharan piece actually has to do with plagues and sickness. So here we go. I'm going to share screen again. And it starts here. The main thing is faith. The main thing is faith. Every person must search within himself and strengthen himself in faith. For there are people who suffer the worst illnesses and afflictions only because of fallen faith, because God will send you wondrous plagues, great and faithful plagues, and great and faithful sicknesses. That's from Devarim. The plagues and sicknesses are faithful because they come on account of a lack of faith. Fallen faith causes wondrous plagues for which no medicine, prayer, or ancestral merit is of any avail. So Rebbe Nachman saying that fallen faith is what's calling plagues, is what's could cause plagues, and nothing can help it. The remedy is to dig down until we find the waters that nurture faith. These are the waters of counsel, the spiritual pathways that enable us to deepen our faith. As it is written, I will acknowledge your name, for you have done wonders, sending counsels from afar, nurturing faith, from Yeshaya. True spiritual counsel nurtures faith, enabling it to grow. By the way, I skipped around in this piece, so it's actually a really long piece. True counsel springs from the depths of the heart. When the crisis of faith is so great that even wordless cries cannot help, one has to cry from the heart alone. Their heart cried out to God from Echa. The heart alone cries without our letting out a sound. From the depths I call out to God, from Tehillim, from the depths of the heart. And from the depths of the heart comes guidance. For like deep waters, so is counsel in the heart of man. When shouts and screams no longer help because faith has collapsed, one must cry from the depths of the heart without letting out a sound. This is how true counsel is revealed. For like deep waters, so is counsel in the heart of man. And through this, the true guidance and counsel that are revealed in the world, with each person knowing in his own heart what he must do, faith is able to grow, as it is written, counsels from afar nurturing faith. Then everything can be rectified, for true counsel is a wonder. I will acknowledge your name, for you have done wonders, counsels from afar. This makes it possible to heal the wondrous plague sent by God. Prayer also brings about wonders, as it is written, awesome in praises. Prayer performing wonders. The same is true of ancestral merit. In front of their fathers, he performed wonders. Okay, so we're going to stop the share. So I'm just going to recap that piece. I read for a while, but this is nothing compared to actually how long the piece really is. But here we go. Okay, so Rebbe Nachman tells us that Emunah is the main thing. Emunah is where our focus should be. He tells us that lack of faith brings sickness and it brings plagues that tefillah or anything else can't help. But he says when we cry deep within our heart, that will elevate faith. And that's really the point that I wanted to bring out. When we cry deep within our heart, a silent cry, that will elevate faith. So I brought this piece in because, obviously there is sickness now, and this is a time where we need to cry from the depths of our heart. We're, like I said, there's plague, there's sickness, there's lots of troubles, and our faith is being tested. And I guess at the same time, our faith also needs to be elevated, but how? Like, how are we supposed to elevate our faith? How are we supposed to elevate our Emunah? So again, I want to go back to Sichos 146, what I read about having questions about kashas, I'm not anyone to say this, but we're being tested because of our low level of faith, right? And Rebbe Nachman is telling, I think, by connecting these pieces, to me, it just seemed that Rebbe Nachman was telling us, not to give up. We shouldn't stop asking questions to Hashem in our heart and crying to Hashem in our heart until our faith gets stronger and higher and all our questions are answered and this Emunah gets elevated, as it said in that Likutey Moharan piece. I think the point is it's okay to be confused and it's okay to ask, but where are the questions directed? Our questions need to be addressed to Hashem. We need to know that no matter what we are going through, it's because Hashem willed it. And we might have questions is this good? Is this bad? But I think as long as they're sincere, broken-hearted questions to our Creator, to our Father, then it will ignite this faith in us. So I just want to end here, and I just want to give us all a bracha that we don't give up during this difficult time, and that we are patient to get the answers that we need. and that our Emunah gets lifted to high levels, and that Hashem reveals himself soon. So all our questions will be answered and all our doubts will be cleared. So thank you everyone for joining me. Have a good night.